And we are recording. First of all, thanks to everyone who is watching this part of the Dark and Terrible campaign. We have Josh and Crispy, as always. This time they were camping in the lake. If you may remember, this glade with a lake. They had this disturbing encounter with some sort of water entity. The adventurers have leveled up. In the case of Killian, he is luckier. He has put a point in his luck stat, perhaps because of his contact with the water entity, who knows. And in the case of Esben, he is now more skilled when it comes to his swordsmanship, perhaps because of his fight with Sloane and the guards, perhaps. So, Josh, what are your expectations for this?
I'm hoping that we'll finally end up discovering why he is no longer, he got demoted to being a Baron, Baron Uther. So we'll try to figure out what's happening with that and get that completely cinched up. Aside from that, secondly, I hope that we'll have a chance, I'm not sure we'll be able to in this section, but possibly meet back up the orc group and get their alliance as well, and maybe get them down to Camden.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
Yes.
Now, Crispy, what are your expectations for this part of the campaign?
I have a letter that's burning a hole in my pocket that I must deliver, and I want to see that delivered come hell or high water. That Baron, Duke, whatever, he's getting his letter. And then I also, like Josh, very interested in this potential alliance with these non-typical orcs. I'm also very suspicious of Squire Kent, and I still can't shake the feeling that he's at best he's guilty of a dereliction of duty to that henchman Sloane that we dispatched last time. But I also get this feeling like he's not someone that we can really put our confidence in. So I want to get to the bottom of that. Those two things: deliver the letter, same as Josh, reconnect with the orcs, and thirdly, I think we need to ring Squire Kent's bell. I think that there's something else going on there.
Very interesting, and so it begins. Esben, Killian, and their hirelings have just woken up with the first ray of the sun. They are ready to continue, and Killian does no longer sense the presence of this water entity.
I take a moment and look out to the pond. I disrobe myself and walk out into it, cleansing myself from the few days that we've been adventuring, letting my mind rest and just floating.
The water feels normal, but without that sense of the supernatural or the otherworldly.
Esben, finally we can be at peace and adventure on, my friend.
At peace, at least I won't have to smell you. Esben knocks his two henchmen up from there, Nico and Matthias. Hey, it's time to wash your stinky selves. It's your weekly bath. And he quickly sheds his tunic and jumps into the pond with abandon, excited to wash up finally. He's got to get his hair. He's really particular about his hair. So he's going to wash out the tangles in that hair, make himself look real pretty. Because today we meet a Baron, Duke, whatever. We're going to do that today.
Take note of my hand, seeing how it's healing from our first quest in the ruins. Esben, I've been thinking, sir. That letter, I wish I knew the words that it held.
What? Are you suggesting we read it? It's a risky proposition, my friend. I like it.
It is, but who's to say that during battle or all our misadventures that perhaps it was torn open? Ooh. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too dark here, my friend, but after all we've been through, my curiosity is getting the best of me.
Nico, let him up. He has to breathe. Okay, thank you. Josh, or sorry, Killian, I like where you're thinking on this, but my honor demands that we at least attempt. If things are going sideways when we get to Uther's Keep, let's maybe our discretion isn't worth our lives. We can take a look at that letter, but we swore that to the good, the counselor in Jarlsberg that we would deliver it, and it is sealed. So let's not break it quite yet. But I understand where you're coming from. And with that, Espen gets out of the water, shakes off the worst of the water, and he and his henchmen will start putting on their armor and getting ready for the day's trek.
I began to robe myself after getting out of the pond. Do you think that as Baron, he still deserves the letter?
Well, that is an excellent question, my friend, but such matters are beyond our pay grade. Take out my sword, make sure that it's nicely oiled and sharp, go through a few forms just to make sure I'm limber.
Lucas, Sven, say a word to Odin for us friends as we depart. To the north, Espen?
Yes, I believe that's the directions we were given. The keep is somewhere north of here. Our travel would go a lot faster if we could find a road. Let's head off northwest. Maybe we can get lucky and connect with a road.
That sounds good. Sven, Luca, grab our things. Come along. I begin to march towards the northwest, slightly behind my more handsome companion, Esmond.
We'll strike out, looking for game trails at first, but eager to regain the actual road.
As you continue north, you notice that far in the west, there's a wooded area, lots of woods, and perhaps, yes, some hills. You can just barely see them through the clouds. Suddenly things start to become a bit foggy. There is this mist about, and clouds, almost unnaturally so, start to manifest themselves above you. To the east, far in the east, you see some mounts, a few hills, but suddenly you start getting this terrible headache. Each and every one of you, you start to feel this horrible headache.
Are we still heading the right way? Esmond, check your compass.
I think that water was bad. My head's pounding.
Maybe we should take a moment.
This weather's terrible. Jarlsberg's way better than this. Matthias, Nico, pull up for a second. We'll rest here, catch our breath, pass that wineskin around. Man, anything to take this pounding headache away.
You are suddenly violently interrupted by a sound, a piercing sound, unexplainable, like 1,000 murmurs happening at once, a cacophony that suddenly transports you. You are now in the same land, but it is completely devastated. What was green once is now gray and dark brown. The land is devastated, as if a war had happened recently, and there are corpses all about you.
I draw my sword, alarmed at the sudden change, spinning around, taking in the surroundings. I identify the closest body. Killian, let's examine this.
As well, I draw out my crossbow and begin to put a bolt in as I look down at the bodies, trying to sense anything within the air.
As I stand over the body, I'll carefully, with the point of my sword, just check wary that there may be disease here.
The corpses look in a similar state of liquefaction or slimification, similar to the corpse that you first encountered in Compton, and your henchmen start to gasp. As you pay attention, you notice that despite the state of the corpses, you can see that the corpses belong to Luca, Sven, Matthias.
What?
Sven, Luca!
But they are still alive. They are besides you.
Matthias, don't look at this. Turn away. There's some sorcery at work here. Killian, what do your senses tell you?
I'm unsure, friend. I cautiously kneel down towards the body.
You cannot perceive anything at all. And just 5 feet ahead of you, you see another corpse of Nico and 2 other corpses that look disturbingly familiar.
Is this some vision of the future or an alternate past or something? Give me something to cut. This sorcery tires me.
I stand back to my feet and begin to march forward, trying to get away from this madness.
Suddenly, the 2 more distant corpses get up in their state of liquefaction. They look slimy and gross. But the most disturbing thing of all, they are the corpses of Killian and Esben, your corpses, and they are walking towards you.
I assume a guard stance, sword held out in front of me. I don't care how beautiful your hair is, mock copy of me. I'll cut you down if you get too close. Speak. Explain this.
I start to march backwards, getting back behind Esmond cautiously.
I glance behind, checking Killian's position, motioning for Matthias. Get ready.
Suddenly you hear that disturbing sound, that mind-shattering sound once again. And in the blink of an eye, you are now back as if nothing had happened in your normal path towards the north. But Killian hears a strange sound behind him. He hears a metallic click.
I quickly dive forward and roll to my side, looking back towards it.
Just as Killian does that, something pierces the air above him. And you hear this familiar voice. So you thought you would abandon me. Back in the temple, the great dark elf adventurer, Valranar. And then you start to hear the sound of something burning.
The elf! God, how did he get out? I rush forward to put myself between Esben and Killian, or between the elf and Killian. Go your way.
Suddenly, this huge curtain of fire moves towards you. Both Esben and Killian take 2 life points of damage.
That fire burns. I
Esben
begin trying to roll on the ground, trying to get away from the
Esben's
flames.
leather armor is no good when it comes to protecting him from this fire.
I should have splurged
And from
for
out
the
of
more
nowhere,
expensive armor.
You see these 3 dark elves, Baldranar, the same dark elf that you abandoned back in the temple of the slug deity, but now he has 2 friends with him. And one seems to be a spellcaster, his hands are burning. The other one is dressed in the attires of a warrior with armor. And Valranar is pointing a crossbow at you, readying another bolt.
Espen makes a quick dash to the caster, running as fast as he can there. As he does so, he calls out to Nico and Matthias, cover Killian.
Sven, Luca, charge them and use your staffs to keep them at bay.
Your hirelings managed to immobilize the caster, even though he was gesticulating a new spell, casting a new powerful attack. They managed to wrestle with him. He's immobilized, but the warrior is approaching the position of Killian. Esben is now within an equal distance to Valranar and the warrior type of dark elf.
Mm.
I pull my hand crossbow up to my stomach and just raise my hand. Please, please, I'm defenseless. You've won. Take me if you will. You've done enough.
I'm not so ready to surrender. Killian, hold. I rush, glancing between the two options ahead of me. I quickly decide I'm going for the head of the snake. I rush towards the leader all the same time, saying, call off your men or they die.
Balranar has now prepared a new bolt and is aiming straight at Esben. Perhaps we can make a deal. How much will you offer me in terms of florins?
This is just robbery? Come on, Dark Elf. I expected more from you than this. All right, then. Let's treat. I'll give you 10 florins to forget that you ever saw us.
Make it 20.
20? 12. And we won't kill your caster.
Balranar seems deep in thought and says, well, all right, I suppose it will be more trouble than what it's worth. A good caster is difficult to find nowadays. Now, toss those florins over there in front of you.
Nico, Matthias, keep hands on that caster as Esben reaches in to count out the florins from his pouch.
I reveal my crossbow, aim at the warrior, and fire towards his face.
The crossbow bolt goes deep into the warrior's skull, and he falls dead. Balranar exclaims, what? And aims his crossbow at Esben.
Esben will toss the florins directly in his face, trying to spoil his aim as he cries out to Matthias, kill the caster.
This ruins Balranar's aim. He lets out a bolt, but it hits nothing, and the caster goes down as your hirelings stab and pummel him to death.
Trying to close the distance before he can reload, Esben sprints forward. Said, it looks like you're going to be paying us for your life.
Balranar pulls out a small knife.
You call that a knife? Espen's well-oiled blade leaves his scabbard.
Suddenly Balranar exclaims an ancient word, Usuria! And he grows twice his size.
Oof.
And he moves towards you with a quick slash.
But Esben will sidestep, going for his knee, trying to hamstring him.
The knife almost cuts your hair.
Don't touch the hair.
But you manage to strike through, and he falls to one knee, but he seems alive and well. He backs up a little and thrusts with his knife.
I tear the cloth from my hand and stare upon it. Odin, hear these words. Accept your tithe. I tap into my psychic power as I focus my energy upon his right eye, reaching forth and yanking it, attempting to pull it from his skull.
His right eye is pulled horribly, disgustingly out. You can see this line of crimson coloring the air as it happens. Balranar screams in pain. Ah! And it seems that the spell was disrupted. And he falls head down, face down into the ground. He is motionless.
I kick his knife away from his hand to disarm him. Then with my boot, I turn him over so he's facing me. keeping my blade hovering above his chest.
I regain my footing and begin to limp over towards Espen.
He is
Matthias,
dead.
Nico. Oh, he's dead. Killian, why don't you lead with that next time? Pulling his eye out of his head.
I don't.
My friend. Boy, oh boy.
I don't know what overcame me. All these dark visions, they're taking me to an unfamiliar place. I don't like this land.
Do you think he was responsible for our vision that we had? He had a caster with him. Matthias, I've got a bunch of florins around. Can you please pick those up while I search this body?
I'm just going to take a moment.
Yep.
You encounter 10 florins and a quiver of crossbow bolts.
I'll recover the knife that he pulled as well. Slip that into my belt.
Don't mind me while I take a moment.
What do you make of this cloak? That is a nice looking cloak. I wouldn't mind taking that. Should have, as he takes off the cloak from the elf, drapes it over. It's got a bit of panache. I like it.
Suits you. The other one was a little burnt anyway.
Shall we bury these bodies? Just brigand dark elves trying to rob us? Or we'll just leave them for the wild animals?
Leave them as a warning. Maybe we can let people around know not to mess with the ones from Jarlsberg. We're here to help, but we won't.
Matthias, take his crossbow. That might come in useful. Espen then grabs the dead dark elf along with and drags him over to where the mage is lying, as well as his man-at-arms, searching the man-at-arms for any other weapons or florins that he might have on him. The mage I'm nervous about. I'll leave this one for you, Killian.
I approach the mage, lean down, and begin to cautiously examine the body and then search for any type of items or perhaps papers that he may have upon him.
If he does have a paper, perhaps we could leave a note for the next that find these bodies. A true warning.
Just a timeout. When you get too close, Josh, to the microphone, there is an interruption with the sound. There we go. Okay. The Dark Elf Warrior has 7 florins on him. But the suspicious thing about the caster is that he holds nothing of value except a piece of paper with a strange sigil. Your henchmen were also searching the body of the caster, and the only thing that they found was this piece of paper. They show it to you, and it contains a strange symbol of an eye with a line that turns into a claw.
That's some irony there, Killian. Look, it's got an eye on it.
Somewhat foretelling.
Perhaps you should keep an eye on this. I can't make any. I understand florins and weapons, but this is beyond me.
Certainly, I'll keep hold of it until we find out its true nature.
Let's push on. Who knows what anyone else is following us in this godforsaken land. Oh, did we lose Abraham?
Possibly. Very nice encounter.
Yeah, that was cool. I love the snapshot to take out the man-at-arms. I love it. That was great.
I wasn't quite sure what you were going to do, but I kind of thought maybe we weren't just going to come off our hard-earned florins. So
I mean, 20 florins is all I got. You wiped me right out. I got to eat.
Yeah, we both need our florins.
Absolutely.
And we have our henchmen to pay for as well.
That's right. We're not going to be sleeping in the field. We're going to have something. we gotta have some coin when we hit the keep.
Absolutely.
Come in as vagabonds. No way.
No. It'll be interesting to see Luther.
Hmm. Yeah, what is Luther up to? We'll have to see. Uther. It's Uther.
Uther, yes.
Yes. But there was also the sage. We never actually found him. I wonder if all of this these strange visions we're having, if it had something to do with that. Remember we had that same experience at the enchanted pond.
We did.
They seem to be connected. Something about water being fouled. I can't remember what that nymph told us.
Seems to be a warning.
Call the henchman over. We'll take, as the adrenaline comes down a little bit, we'll take some water, make sure we're not leaving anything behind of value, and then Espen will suggest that we push on.
Agreed. I don't know about you, friend, but I could use a good night's rest and some nice bandages at this point.
I'm not too keen on sleeping on the ground, and we're down one blanket because I gave it to that little urchin girl. And Matthias snores crazily loud. So let's move on. Maybe we can find a inn on the road. No more breaks. Let's go.
Pushing forward, but I will definitely have to linger behind some. I don't think I could handle much more in this day.
Yes, that's right. You're wounded. I'm wounded too, but tis but a scratch. We can handle this. Let's move on.
Sven, Luca, lead the way.
As you continue, you see a lone figure in the distance. He seems to be approaching you. He looks pretty average, dressed in peasant's clothing. He is carrying a sack with him, and he starts to wave at you.
I wave back. Well met, stranger.
Hello there.
Get closer.
The man approaches you. He seems to be in his 20s, and he says, "Hello there, good sirs. My name is Jeremy. I come from a farm to the east, and I am a traveling salesman. I am selling rations from the fruit farm to the east."
What kind of fruit do you have, Jeremy? And
Apples and pears, sir.
Ooh, I love apples. All right. For what are you asking for these wares?
Just the usual, sir. Look at this list. He hands you a list with the prices.
Compare that to what I would expect from rations, and let's see here.
If you don't mind me asking, sir, where are you heading?
Oh, I don't mind at all. We're heading up to the keep. We're just on our way north there. We have an appointment.
You should head northeast, sir. And I advise against going to the northwest because there are orcs fighting there.
I see.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. For your trouble, here's an extra florin. I'll hand him 6 florins for the rations plus the helpful information.
Thank you, sir.
Would you be willing to possibly guide us part of the way there?
Oh, good idea, Killian. And we can pay you as well.
Of course.
I'm afraid not, sir. I need to visit my family down south in Compton.
We just came from Compton. It's a bit of a foul air that dwells over Compton at these times. I can understand why you'd want to check on your family, but tread cautiously. Compton's not what it was, I imagine.
Thank you, sir. If you are looking for work, I also recommend that you visit the fruit farm to the east. My father is there right now, and he's looking for help if you are looking to make some florins.
About how much travel to the east? I don't imagine that we can detour from our journey this time, but I wouldn't mind checking out the orchard as I polish an apple on my leather armor and get ready to have a nice big bite.
It's just about 4 miles to the east.
Oh, make a note of that. Nico, make a note. There's a nice
that-
orchard. Apple and pears.
Is that vial that you have there? Is that some form of ointment?
No, sir.
Perhaps we should continue then. You say northeast.
Northeast to the keep, sir. If you want to reach the keep, northeast, you will be there in time. Especially since there have been so many rains. Sometimes the road is treacherous, but if you keep going to the east, you will find our fruit farm.
Espen flashes his most charming smile, clasps the young man by the arm. Thank you very much, and safe travels to you.
Yes,
Perhaps
sir.
we'll meet again at a future date when we drop by your orchard. Meet your father.
Thank you, sir.
Perhaps get more of these delicious apples. As he takes another big crunch.
Indeed, sir.
Yes, thank you. Jarlsberg will remember your courtesy. I will continue to maneuver to the northeast.
Yeah, we'll adjust our heading and trek on.
As you continue, just in front of you, you see the ruins of what was once a farm, but it is completely burned down and destroyed.
Perhaps, Killian, perhaps we're seeing some evidence of this orc conflict. I wonder if this has something to do with the demotion of the Duke to Baron. I can't imagine that the king will be very pleased that we have orc tribes warring through farmland.
None of his people seem safe at this point. Everything seems just completely chaotic.
Where is his forces? We just saw a bunch of sellswords masquerading as the squire's men. What happened to the Duke's standing army? Odd.
Hopefully we'll get some answers at the keep. That's our best choice at this point, my friend.
Shall we check this building to see if there are any survivors? It
Absolutely.
looks like it's unlikely, but we should probably check just to be sure.
As you move through the ruins of this devastated farm, you find no one inside. However, you do find a small pouch. It contains something heavy within.
Open the pouch and peer inside to see what it is that we found.
There is a small gemstone. It looks valuable, in your opinion.
I drop it out of the pouch into my hand so I could examine it better. Killian, look at what I found. Some kind of gem.
Luck be upon you, friend.
I'm sure we can find a nice gem cutter. Maybe at the keep.
Esben has seen this sort of gem before. You can usually fetch about 5 or 6 florins for it.
Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. I kind of wipe it off a little bit with my gloved hand and tuck that into my pouch.
I just continue to look through the rubble to see if I see any bodies.
There are no bodies whatsoever.
Strange that there's no bodies. Well, perhaps they've been carried away by the wild beasts that roam these lands.
We can only hope that they got out in time.
Agreed. Let's move. No, Matthias, we don't need to stop yet. Come on, let's go. I'm the one that was injured, not you.
As you continue your journey, you notice that it starts to get really dark, and the keep is nowhere in sight yet.
I hope Jeremy gave us good directions. It's getting dark out. Perhaps time for a fire and a camp.
I agree. As bad as I hate to spend more time out, it can't hurt, and I don't know how much further I can go on without a good day's rest.
Matthias, give me a hand. We'll get a fire started. Nico, if you could set up the tent, that'd be great. We'll stop here.
Seems to be a good plan. Sven, Luca, if you could, check my wounds.
Oh, I guess I should check my... it's just
These
a minor
burns.
cut.
The burns ache.
The night is peaceful enough. You don't need to spend any rations because of the fruit that you purchased. And once more, the sun greets you the next day.
Feels better in the morning, doesn't it? Oh, a little bit of a knot in my back. I'll do a little bit of calisthenics to try to limber up a bit.
Had dreams of fire. Ah, what an unpleasant smell, getting burned.
There's some kind of there must be some kind of curse on this land or something. I just can't shake the warning that nymph gave us. Such a fetching thing, that nymph. Yeah.
I
Hopefully-
still can't believe that the elf tracked us down all the way from the ruins.
Yeah. Talk about wasted effort. Look at what it got him. He has an eye for trouble, as it were. He's like clap Killian on his shoulder. That's a neat trick you got.
That's very good, very good. Oh, well, he won't
You
be
now
seeing
feel
us around.
refreshed as each one of you that was wounded recovers 1 life point, and Killian recovers his psychic essence.
Yeah, so that cut is healing up nicely. Doesn't look infected. Let's move. We can make some good time with the sun shining like this.
Let's get a good start. Good. Sven, Luca, let's help him with the tent. Get moving.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Sven. No, that's not where that goes. It goes in. Yes, that's better.
He's better at prayer. Just
Well,
tries.
pray
He
for the
tries.
tent that it survives your folding attempts there, Sven.
After walking for a couple of miles, you now see it finally. Uther's keep. As you approach it, you see that the keep is quite large, but it is only a single level, a single floor. But it is about perhaps 1.5 miles when it comes to the entire perimeter of the grounds.
Wow.
Impressive. Well, here we are finally. You got that letter handy?
I do indeed. I pat it, the inside pocket. Still can feel it there. Let's get this letter delivered and find out what's going on. Maybe get word on where that sage was that you were supposed to meet up with.
Indeed.
At the very least, we got some apples for the walk.
I continue.
Nico,
walk
keep
forward.
an eye out for patrols. I'm very curious as to why we haven't seen any so far. Should be some patrols, at least this close to the keep.
My thoughts exactly.
We press on, heading towards the keep, out in the open. My sword sheathed.
As you approach the front gate, you see that just outside the keep, there are about 4 guards guarding material to build, perhaps repair the structure, create new structures, perhaps, or repair the road. They seem to be talking with a gentleman that looks like an engineer. He's dressed in the attire of an engineer, work clothes. He has a hammer and he has some plans, and he is discussing something with a guard.
Hello there.
Hello, good sirs.
Yes. Yes, I'm very busy. Who are you?
My name is Killian, and this is my good associate, Esben Lutcher.
Esben pours on the charm. My good engineer. We're here with a special message for the lord of this keep. We've been bidden from far to deliver it.
About a week ago, there was an envoy by Kainsmore. Are you from Kainsmore?
No, we are not from Canesmore. We actually travel from Jarlsberg.
Oh, Jarlsberg. I got it. Oh, yes. You better hurry.
And why is that?
Well, you know how these Kainsmore diplomats are. They are quite the skilled persuaders. I don't know what they talked with Lord Uther, but After he became Grand Duke Uther, things have been quite strange lately. So much activity.
I'm sorry, I meant your loss. The proper title for your lord is Grand Duke.
Yes, Grand Duke.
I heard a rumor, unsubstantiated, of course, and I hesitate even to repeat it, as I do not want to give you offense nor offend your lord. But south of here, there is talk that the Grand Duke, as you say, is now a baron.
Baron. And some guards also laugh when they overhear that.
I
Baron.
joined in the laughter. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Why would they think such things?
I heard that King Ealdred himself gave him the title of Grand Duke.
Really? Well, you can see sometimes news can't be counted upon. I appreciate you saving me some embarrassment when we go to see the Grand Duke. I flip a florin out of my pocket towards the engineer. I appreciate the assistance, good sir.
Thank you, sir. My name is Bulker.
Balker it is. Well, I can see you have lots of work to do. It looks like you've got a building project going on. Can you tell me about that, Bulker?
Yes, it seems that after becoming Grand Duke, Lord Uther is quite busy, so now Steward Barclay is running things, and he has commissioned that we expand this keep and that we repair the roads.
Oh, interesting. You're repairing the roads. Well, that sounds like a great idea. And that was done by, you said the Grand Duke has someone that's dealing with the day-to-day affairs of the kingdom. What was
The
that
Steward
gentleman's name?
Barclay. Yes,
Steward
he is the
Barclay.
steward.
Is he in
Excellent.
the keep now?
I believe so, sir.
And if one seeks audience with the Grand Duke, then the proper protocol would be to first contact his steward, Steward Barclay.
Well, that depends, sir. Sometimes Lord Uther is attending people, listening to the people's needs and plight in the Grand Hall. But as soon as you meet the guard gate, he will tell you who to speak with.
Ah, very good. Well, don't let us delay your important work on the roads any longer. We'll take our leave. And again, thank you very much, Bulker. I clasp him by the hand and give him a nice, flashing, toothy smile. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, sir.
I nod at the guards and move into the keep.
As soon as you approach the courtyard, a man, a guard, but of higher rank because of the nice-looking armor, steps forward and halts you. Who goes there?
I bow deeply and motion, Nico, come on, as we all bow deeply. Oh, we're here, special emissaries with an important message to deliver to the Grand Duke. Please.
The guard suddenly looks at Killian and says, "Are you a wizard?"
No, my friend. I'm just a man of faith.
Oh,
May Odin smile upon you.
Thank you. Indeed, likewise. But do you know Lothian?
I know of the name, but
we dropped by his tower looking for him on our trip here, of course. Unfortunately, he was not around.
To me, all seekers of the arcane and the mysteries of the mind are the same, sir. I thought that perhaps you were your acquaintance, you knew Lothian, but he came here about a week ago, but no one has seen him since. We are in need of his advice, of his counsel.
Does he come here often?
Yes.
Good. I'll be sure to direct him this way if we do bump into him.
All right,
Sarah. Perhaps there's a specific question we could pass along. It sounds like your need is urgent.
Tell him to come to the keep as soon as possible. And what brings you to the keep, if you don't mind, sir?
We have a special message from our own Lord to deliver.
To deliver to
The Grand Duke.
Steward, the Grand
The
Duke.
Grand Duke. Yes,
Let
sir.
me fetch Captain Gunnar. He will help you, sir.
Much appreciated. I'll bow again deeply.
Thank you. Thank you.
He motions for a guard, whispers something into his ear. The guard moves into the keep. And after a few moments, you see this burly man with a huge mustache. He walks with a very confident step. He looks at both of you and says, I am Captain Gunnar. You said you wanted to speak with either Uther or Lord Barclay?
Well, I'll bow, a soldier's bow to the captain. Well met, Captain. Yes, square my shoulders away, my best military stance. We have been tasked to deliver an important message to the Grand Duke. We hail from Jarlsberg and are several days in travel.
Captain Gunnar's demeanor seems quite informal. He's playing around with his mustache. He thinks for a moment and says, I will take you to the meeting room. Follow me.
Thank you. This is
Thank you,
making
sir.
me nervous, Esben.
Yes, I agree. There's something afoot here. I whisper to Killian and to Nico and Matthias. Be ready. We might have to beat a hasty retreat from this place. Something else is going on.
You are led through the courtyard. The courtyard seems somewhat empty except for a few horses, some boxes, barrels, training equipment, and you are led through a door in the northwest side. After passing a room that seems to be, by your estimation, a killing room, the sort of room that are used in keeps and castles to trap the enemy and kill them from outside through the arrow slits. You are taken to another room that is decorated with fine furniture, but the walls have paintings and murals of death and carnage. The captain motions for you to sit, and he says, Steward Barclay will join you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. I stand in front of the furniture, but do not sit. My eyes lingering over the artwork on the walls. It's quite the taste and decor, wouldn't you say?
It's very impressive. Seems to be death all around us everywhere we go, Esben.
Yes, dark times.
You notice that there is a huge table at the center of the room, rectangular, with at least 15 chairs available for you to sit.
I'll walk over to the table and look along it just to see if there's anything on the table itself as I pick out a nice spot to pull out and sit.
Everything seems to be pretty average. The only thing that is quite disturbing of the room are the scenes of carnage and death around in the paintings.
These paintings, Killian, these battlegrounds, these things here, this is very bloody. Not what I would expect from the Grand Duke. I'll go up to.
Maybe they're better at battle than I was giving them credit for.
Yeah, I can see why Jarlsberg wants such fierce warriors to be on our side.
Suddenly, the door is opened, and a huge man, red beard, long red hair, piercing brown eyes, enters the room. He looks at you and takes a seat close to you at the table, trying to get a good view of everyone. And he says, I am Steward Barclay. And you all are?
Bow deeply and then sit down. My name is Espen Ludger. These are my two footmen, Nico and Matthias, and I'll gesture towards Killian so he can introduce himself.
And myself, Killian Foss, here from Jarlsberg with my two companions, Sven and Luca.
We've been bidden, Honorable Steward, to convey a letter that we have here on our person to the Grand Duke Uther. We understand that you are serving in capacity as his steward. I'm sorry, we have just now learning the current events here.
He suddenly turns very serious, has a very serious look to his face, and he says, Grand Duke Uther is quite busy. Could I take a look at that letter?
Our instructions were very clear. I intend no offense. I take the letter out from where I've been holding it close to my chest, and I pull it out here. You can see that we have not tampered at all with the seal, as it came directly from our Lord in Jarlsberg. We wish to give no offense to our betters, and our instructions were clear to give it to none other than the Duke. Grand Duke. Is there no... I hate to impose, but... And I lay my charm on. By Odin's blessing, perhaps the good Duke could make an exception in his busy schedule.
I'll see what I can do. He is very busy since he has become the Grand Duke. But
Understood. Of course.
give me at least one day.
Very generous of you. Very generous. Thank you. Jarlsberg thanks you. We are in
However,
your debt.
We cannot offer accommodations to your group. The skip is quite packed, and suddenly you are all interrupted. A man dressed in robes, blonde hair, bright green eyes, enters and says, But Stuart Barkley, surely you can grant some shelter to these travelers. They have come from afar. As a follower of Thor, I must request this of you. Then Stuart Barkley looks at this man and says, Brother Aemon, always so charitable. I guess we could make some accommodations, if they so wish. He looks at you and says, do you prefer to stay with us inside of the keep, or do you prefer to camp outside?
Your hospitality is legendary. If we could stay here, we have had a long journey, and rest would be much appreciated. Again, we'd be in your debt, good steward, and such things would make their way back to the ears of our Lord in Jarlsberg. Such kindness would, I'm sure, be recompensed.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. I am a very busy man, so I want to finish this quickly. I need to talk some things out. You may have noticed that there are conflicts with the orcs around, so I need to check up on that. He steps from the table, approaches Brother Aemon and says, do not overstep your bounds, priest. The priest just nods, and the steward leaves the room. Brother Aemon approaches you and says, follow me, I will take you to your rooms.
Certainly. Thank you so much for
Bow
your kindness.
deeply. Thank you, good brother. Your kindness is much appreciated.
Yes, now follow me. The moment he says, follow me, you suddenly feel this terrible headache once again. There is this piercing sound once more. And you are now sitting in that same room, but everything is in decadence. It seems as if 100 years have passed. and everything, the paintings, they are ruined. The table looks old and damaged, as if a battle had happened in that room. The door is broken.
We're here again.
Brother
What is
Amon,
this?
can you hear me? Brother.
Brother Amon is nowhere in sight.
Again, why are we cursed so? What have we done to offend the gods that they would do this, inflict these nightmare visions on us? I shake my head.
Perhaps this is the future if it continues on the current path. What is this, Espen?
Your explanation is as good as any I can think. I think perhaps we're getting glimpses of what fate has in store for this place unless they change, unless something is done to halt this inexorable path to destruction and ruin. Nico, Matthias, are you seeing this? What did we do last time to wake up from such waking nightmares?
You are suddenly interrupted by a sound. It sounds like a woman screaming in the distance.
I begin to run towards this sound.
I follow.
Just outside, crouching at the far east corridor, at the very end, near the corner, you see a woman, a blonde woman that looks quite famished, skeletal even. She has green eyes, but the light of her eyes are almost completely. She has empty eyes. The light of life has almost left her body entirely. She is kneeling and she is screaming despite of her state of weakness. She is screaming her lungs out.
I rapidly approach her, ripping my cloak off that I had stolen from the dark elf, wrapping it around her emaciated shoulders, trying to. I grab her by her upper arms and try to calm her down. I whisper to her, "It's okay. It's okay. We're here. We will help you. We will help you. Miss, we'll help you."
She looks at you and with cracked lips, she says, you must not consume it. I saw it all and now they are after me. They are after me.
Who's after you?
And suddenly the vision disappears and you are now once more in the same room with Brother Eamon looking at you, puzzled. And he was like, sir, excuse me, did you hear me? I said, please follow me.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's just been a very long journey.
I take a moment. I reach over and see that I'm still wearing the cloak that I had given to the vision.
It's as if nothing has happened.
Unbelievable. Killian, we're getting warnings. We'd be very unwise not to heed them. Please, Brother Eamon, lead the way.
He leads you through the east section of the keep, and you find yourselves in a series of corridors. They are not that difficult to navigate, and you approach a section with 4 rooms in total. Brother Eamon says, we usually use these rooms for diplomats from Kainsmore. You may have heard that they have visited us. And we also use these rooms for storage, but I'm sure you won't mind sleeping in these quarters.
This is
Not at all.
A vast improvement over our previous accommodations. It's very kind. The diplomats from Kainsmore, they were here recently? When did they leave?
About 6 days ago.
Thank you so much, brother.
We're from Jarlsberg, and we'd very much like to improve the lot of the good people here. A union between, alliance, let's say, between Odin-fearing folk here and those in Jarlsberg would be to the benefit of all. Could you please tell us, we are a little confused as to, if you're not too busy, brother, could you please explain a little bit to Steward Barclay and this Grand Duke Uther, have you have you seen the Grand Duke recently? He sounds like he's very busy, but it seems to me, and I am not a diplomat, but it seems like there's perhaps a little bit of interference that we're unable to speak to the Grand Duke, that the steward is preventing such.
Well, I'm just a humble priest of Thor, but it seems to me as if Lord Uther has become somewhat distant as after he received the title of Grand Duke. Perhaps it is too much of a weight on his shoulders, but we only see him perhaps 2 times a week. He seems to be so busy. Most of the business in the keep is handled through the works and duties of Stuart Barclay.
You see him twice a week. When do you expect to see him next?
Perhaps in 2 days, sir, but Stuart Barclay has his way of convincing him to talk with others, and I sorry I overheard you, but he is supposed to arrange a meeting with him tomorrow so that you can deliver an important message, you said?
That is correct. That is correct. Brother, we appreciate your hospitality, and thank you for intervening on our behalf.
Yes,
I could
very
only
much
do
so.
as much. Before you came, I think I had a vision from Thor. I saw this group of people coming from the east, and Jarlsberg is to the east. So, well, you cannot blame me for believing such things to be true, perhaps more than an omen, a promise of help for these poor lands. Now, because you are guests, I will secure drink and food for you. But I must warn you, there are certain parts of the keep that you shouldn't wander into. Everything concerning the ground floor is accessible as long as the doors are not locked. But there is a stairway. It is located just behind that door. I don't want to be superstitious, but they say that at night you can hear the lamentations of a man. And supposedly, I don't know, I am a servant of Thor, but if you reach the source of the screams, so they say, you are cursed for life. So just in case you believe such things to be true, perhaps you wouldn't want to approach that area.
That's a good warning. I will be
Thank
sure
you.
to heed that.
Before you go, and again, you've been more than helpful. These visions, I'm curious. How long have you been having these omens, these visions? I do believe in such things myself. I glance over at Killian. Have had some omens myself.
Yes, indeed. I believe that Odin himself has sent us here, brother.
Ah, Odin is the father of Thor. It is possible. What sort of visions did you have?
Strange visions of a potential future, battle, ruin, the destruction of this good land and its people, even visions of our own compatriots in dire straits.
Plague and demise.
A foul putrefaction that liquefies the body. Very
I've seen
disturbing.
it. Don't you find it unnatural? I have never seen such a thing.
Nor have I, other than these visions. And I must say, the body of a poor street urchin in Compton, laying unattended in the ground in the street. A younger lad had the same foul disease.
Can I borrow your eyes, brother? Have you seen this before? I show him the slip of paper with the eye.
Brother Eamon looks slightly disturbed. Where did you find this?
We were attacked, Esben and I, out to the west by a group of dark elves. They tried to take our life. You see these burns? I show him my arm scarring. They almost killed us.
Almost being the key word there. We got the better of them.
I have never seen this symbol before, but something disturbs me. There's something about it I cannot understand. Perhaps Thor is warning me, but keep away from this symbol.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm sure you have things to do, brother. We'll make ourselves at home.
It is about to be nightfall. Please, make yourselves at home. I will arrange one of the chambermaids to bring you food and drink.
Our highest thanks.
I bow deeply. Thank you, good brother.
I open one of the closest doors to me and just begin to enter the room.
The room is quite Spartan, only a simple bed. Your hirelings also examine the other rooms, and those even don't have beds. They just have some boxes and some barrels. They look into some of the boxes. You should keep supplies such as clothing, some weapons that do not look that useful, blades that have lost their edge.
I go to the bed and sit down and begin just to take deep breaths and take the day in.
Yeah, I'll sit down on the bed, motion for Nico and Matthias to sit on the bed with me, and we'll just we'll share the last of the fruit that we've had, and then pass around the wineskin till it's empty before resting for the evening, kicking off our boots and resting.
The chambermaids eventually bring food and drink to you. Mostly, the food is much better when compared to other things that you have eaten. It's not exactly fresh, salted meat, some fruits and vegetables. And when you're about to go to sleep, you start to hear these lamentations, these sounds of sorrow, coming from somewhere, from the room where Brother Aemon pointed to being a stairwell or staircase leading downwards.
At first, Espinal called out, "Matthias, turn over, you're snoring again." Then he realizes, no, it's not snoring. I get up, put my boots on, my sword belt. I look at my leather armor for a moment, but then decide against it. Move over to Killian's room, knock on the door.
I open the door. Esmond, we must investigate.
Agreed. How do you want to do this? Perhaps discretion is the better part.
Absolutely. I walk to the end of the corridor where the stairway is and just put my hand upon it. And I take a moment and tap into my psychic power to see if I can sense anything beneath the room.
You start to feel for a moment, just for a moment, the same vibration back in the ruins, that eldritch power.
Espen, you remember the ruins.
How could I forget? We almost died. We should have died. That nasty slug thing.
Look at my hand again as a reminder. Yeah, something's down there. It has the same energy.
Something
I don't
foul,
know.
like we saw before. I wonder if that has something to do with this curse. It's fallen over the land. I'm also curious. The sage, he came here often. He came here, but nobody saw him leave.
And he's just disappeared now.
Could he be trapped below?
We
don't even know if he's a friend. He might even be a foe. I don't know. Either way, there's no way we can sleep with that incessant howling going on. We may as well figure out what's going on there.
I cautiously look back down the hallway, just making sure that we're alone.
Good thinking. Let's check that first. I'll quietly move over to Nico's room, knock on the door. Nico, you go check out that sound. I want you to keep a watch. If somebody starts coming this way, send Matthias to warn us.
Good idea. Sven, Luca, you come with us. I'm behind you, my friend. I'm inclined not to make any waves while we're here, but at the same time, this energy, whatever it is, it needs to cease to exist.
Well, if it's anything like that unspeakable evil that we encountered before, we must do something. We're Odin bound to do something about it. As I step towards the door, I realize I'm still wearing just my nightshirt. Just give me a moment. I quickly move back to the room, gather up my leathers, and with the help of Matthias, I get the leather armor strapped on. That's better.
Sven, Luca,
Then move back.
ask for Odin's blessing as we prepare to march down these stairs into the unknown.
Quietly now. Let's go.
You go down the stairs. No one seems to be around. And you arrive to this room. It's a sort of landing. The room is locked. There is a closed door. But the staircase continues downwards. And you once again hear this lament. Oh, it comes from below. You need to go downwards if you want to investigate this.
Keep moving down. Cautiously. Slowly.
Stealthily.
Yes. Trying to make the minimum amount of sound. Eyes straining in the darkness, looking for any kind of light.
Sven, you stay here at this doorway. Maybe you should keep watch here just in case someone comes out of here. We'll proceed.
As you descend, you notice that there are torches lit every now and then. This area is well maintained. You arrive to this hallway that leads to an intersection. To the south, there is a door. Just in front of you, there are a pair of doors in the east. And to your left, there is a door that leads to the west.
We have 3 choices here, friend. Which one should we take first? Let's wait for a moment. Perhaps we should, if we can hear that sound, that moan, I whisper to Killian. That might give us an indication of where to go first.
You once again listen to this moan. Oh, it comes just in front of you. It is the 2 doors in front of you on the east side. It's the left one. You are certain of it.
I gesture to the door. Just nod. Quietly approach the door. Put my ear to the door to see if I can, just to listen. Is there something else that I can hear now that we're so close? I wait for that moan to reoccur.
I quietly take out my crossbow and reload a bolt just in case.
The moans stop, but you can listen as if someone is drawing or writing something, like someone quick at work, writing or drawing inside of that room.
Espen puts his hand on the handle of the door and then slowly, ever so slowly, turns the handle, trying to make a minimum amount of noise before he pushes the door open, just a crack to peer inside.
You see a hunched man. He is bald and dressed in these horrible looking rags. They have brownish and yellowish stains to them, and it smells awful. It smells of piss and excrement inside.
Could this be Lothian?
I wait to hear if the moan is coming from this man. My one hand covering my nose and mouth from the smell of filth.
I roll to the side against the wall outside and just keep an eye out.
I lock eyes with Killian. I kind of motion, kind of ready. Then fling the door wide open and step into the room.
The figure seems to be undisturbed, but Killian recognizes that person as Lothian. He saw him in the Lothian's tower through his vision. It is the same man.
That is him, Espen.
Lothian. Lothian.
He turns around very slowly. He has a long white beard, long mustache as well, and his eyes seem to be lost. And he says, "That was my name, wasn't it? Lothian."
It is still your name. What sorcery is this? Come to yourself, man. You're sitting in your own filth. I moved to see what he was scrawling on, like he was sitting at a table hunched over something, like he was writing. I want to see what it is that he was writing.
You see many symbols, the same symbol, the eye with the claw, drawn in everywhere. Canvas,
Killian,
parchment.
He's been seized by some madness. He's not himself.
I
Lothian, you are not yourself.
I walk into the room, pull my hood down, and look at the poor man in his eyes. Lothian. I put my hand onto his head. Begin to just think and focus, tapping into my energies. Calm yourself.
While you're doing that, Killian, Espen will look around the room to see if he's been restrained here or if he stayed of his own free will. I'm looking for bindings or a chain or something that's restraining him here.
The room seems to be some sort of study or laboratory. There are a few tables with some flasks, some shelves with alchemical instruments. They are pretty standard according to your own knowledge of such things. But the moment that Killian makes contact with Lothian, he seems to come to his senses.
There you are.
I don't have much time. Listen, I hit something. Here, take this key. He brings out a key that smells awful, gives you a metallic key, and he says, I cannot remember if I hit. There is a strong box, a lock box. I hit it. It's either in Old Compton. Go back to Compton. To the east, you will find Old Compton. This is actually New Compton. Old Compton was abandoned years ago. It lies to the east of Compton. You must examine those ruins. Maybe I hit it there, but I can't remember. The other hiding spot, my tower. There is a hole near the ceiling of my tower. One of those bricks, it's false. You must find it. I know I put something important there. I just know it.
Come with us. Leave with us. Come to your tower.
Yes. Why stay here? You can come with us.
His eyes once again glaze over. He looks once again in a daze or dumb, and he's
Quick, let's leave this place quickly.
Absolutely.
Close the door behind us. Quietly make our way back to our rooms. Killian, you have that key?
Yes.
Best that we secret that away. Something else going on here. Old Compton. If Old Compton was so bad they left it for New Compton, it must be really bad because New Compton's no picnic.
Let's just hope that he has some answers hidden away. I'm not sure. Didn't seem like he had much of himself left. Perhaps we will find something.
It's still that symbol. The one that Brother Aemon said we should avoid. It seems to have eroded his sanity. Well, let's get back to our rooms before someone realizes that we're gone.
Agreed.
You safely make your way back, and you notice that your hirelings are distracting some of the servants. They actually motion for you to move as soon as they lead them to another place, making small talk.
Excellent.
Espen can't help himself. He eyes some of the servants as he walks by, looking for particularly comely ones.
Come with me, Espen. Come on. We have much to talk about.
You're right.
I rush into the room, shut the door behind us. Well,
What
we
should we
were
do?
in his tower. We know it already.
We did, but I don't remember searching the ceiling. We found that bottle underneath the bed. We've been warned now in visions twice not to consume it. Consume what? Some liquid. We had a vision of that too, didn't we? There's some sorcery afoot here. I think we need
Maybe
to
it's
return.
connected to the Dark Elves. Who knows?
The Dark Elves too. The fact that they followed us here.
With that
seems
symbol,
odd.
nonetheless.
Into territory that's been warred over by orcs. Certainly that's not usual. We can tell with these creatures.
We should put it out of our mind for now until we have our meeting tomorrow.
Perhaps we need to make haste out of this place. Maybe staying here at Uther's Keep is not our best action. If we can win the hearts and minds of the people by lifting this curse, then perhaps that's the better way forward. Deliver our letter tomorrow, if we can.
Esmond, I implore you. Perhaps we should open the letter. Let it make us our judgment.
I weigh it in my mind.
Think on it over the night, my friend. Get some rest and let me know in the morning.
I'll lay awake on my bed for some time, just weighing out the pros and cons, coming so close to deliver this letter and opening it at the last moment. We did show, I'm thinking about how we showed the letter to the steward. He saw the seal was intact. Yet what if that letter betrays our larger mission? Well, at this point, whether it does or not, if we interfere with it, our lives could be forfeit. These are the thoughts that are running through Espen's head as he eventually sleep takes him till the morning.
The night is uneventful. You recover 1 life point and one psychic resource. The next morning early, after giving you some breakfast, you don't spend any rations because you are well fed. You are taken to the throne room. It is quite the oppressive room. It is dark with torches. There are some animal and more monstrous trophies. You could swear that it's the head of a dire boar in one of the walls. And sitting in the throne lies who is probably Grand Duke Uther, with long hair, grayish beard, and a crown of gold. Next to him stands Stuart Barkley. He makes a polite bow and he says, "Before you, Grand Duke Uther."
I bow deeply and hold the bow for a respectable time before Grand Duke, thank you very much for seeing us. We hail from Jarlsberg with an important letter for you that we've delivered over many miles. I produce the letter, seal intact, glancing over at Killian as I present the letter for the steward or a page to come and approach and take from me to deliver to the Grand Duke himself.
The steward himself approaches you, takes the letter, and hands it to Uther. Grand Duke Uther seems to be in a sort of daze or stupor. He doesn't seem to be quite there. He takes the envelope, he opens it, he looks at it, he folds it again, hands it over to Stuart Barkley, and nods.
I bow again.
Grand Duke, in addition to that letter that we were bid to bring to you, we've also been tasked to extend the warm hand of fellowship from Jarlsberg to your good people, yourself and your good people. It is our understanding, as much as we can understand such affairs of state, that Jarlsberg desires closer friendship with you and your kingdom. Duchy.
Uther motions for Steward Barclay to approach. He whispers something in a very weak voice. You cannot hear anything. And Steward Barclay approaches you once again and says, "It seems that Grand Duke Uther needs a couple of weeks to think it over."
I bow. Of course. Of course. We are your humble servants.
Barclay looks at you and with a big smile says, "Very well then, you are dismissed."
Thank you, Honorable Steward. And thank you again for arranging this audience with the Grand Duke.
It was my pleasure.
My eyes dart over to Killian, and I just kind of nod, like,
I
to the
turn
exit.
and walk to the door and exit the gloomy room.
As on our way out, Killian, I whisper to you, see if you can spot the brother. Brother Amon. I'd like to speak with him before we leave.
Very good. As we exit the room, I look to Finn and Luca. Find the brother for me.
After a while, your hirelings return with Brother Aemon. Your man said that you wish to talk to me?
Yes. My companion Esben was looking for you. We have much to talk about.
Good brother.
Is there somewhere we can talk, possibly in private?
Perhaps you could join us. We're just walking outside the keep walls. We have a journey to make and an appointment to keep to the south with some friends that we've made in our trip.
Yes,
but perhaps this would be good.
Some fresh air would be nice. Let's talk outside.
Once past the keep walls, I'll nod, of course, to the 4 guards as we pass through the same entrance on our way back. Nod friendly to them, smile a charming smile, and wave. And once we're beyond earshot of the keep itself, I'll turn to Brother Aemon. Brother, we must tell you of what lies down the stairwell.
You went there?
Odin told us.
We were guided by Odin himself, and we discovered something deeply troubling. You've heard of the sage, Lothian?
Yes.
Well, indeed, he's the author of those moans. He sits in a room in his own filth, consumed by madness, sketching that same unholy symbol that you warned us of. We were unable to break through his stupor. But you should know, he lies underneath that keep still.
No, that is not possible. Why wasn't I informed of that?
We have an important mission, but we would feel remiss if we didn't reward your hospitality with this important information. Our suspicions grow. Certainly others know that he's there, for the passage to his chamber was well lined with torches lit. This was not a prison, for he was not chained, yet he sits there, mired in his own effluence. It's a disturbing sight. But we can confirm it is indeed Lothian there.
This is most troubling. Here, from his robe, he produces 2 small water skins. And he says, "This is blessed water from Thor. Listen to me well. In 2 days, you must drink this water exactly at midnight and call for Thor's aid. I am sure I had this vision of you drinking this blessed water, and it will bring you luck in your journey."
Thank you, Brother Aemon. I fear for your safety if you're left behind.
Yes.
Thor
Please.
will protect me. There are 2 other brothers in the keep. We will do what we can to unravel this mystery. Why was Lothian down there?
Well, may your faith guide you. And I produce the knife that I took from the Dark Elf. Thor likes to bless those who protect themselves. Good brother, take this knife. Just in case.
Thank you.
We shall be back in 2 weeks' time.
And where are you going?
We must return from whence we came. We have troubling information to verify, but also friends, potential allies to meet that could help in this fight. Of whatever it is, we're still unclear. But may Odin guide your steps, good brother.
Thank you, and to you as well. Thor's blessing be upon you.
And to you, bow.
May I ask you this thing, brother? Find out as much as you can. Keep your ears open while we're gone.
We will return.
See you again.
Yes, in 2 weeks. We will be back.
I will.
If we are not, then unfortunately, perhaps those omens are ill indeed.
Peace be
The
with
brother
you, brother
departs and goes back into the keep.
Nico, Matthias, we must return. We have an appointment to keep with that half-orc gentleman. We told him we would meet him in 3 days. We must travel quickly.
Yes,
Retrace
to the
our
farms.
path. That's right. Back to the farms.
Sven, Luca, lead the way. Chant us some good prayers to bless us on our journey.
Oh, we won't have much sleep tonight, my friends. We'll have to make good time to get there, and in order not to keep our good half-orc friend waiting.
Indeed.
Through a forced march, you are able to retrace your steps back to the farm. You spend the entire night without resting, and finally, you reach the site.
Finally, we're here.
However, you notice there is a corpse, an orc corpse, just to the side of a structure.
Oh, no.
What is this?
We're too late. Matthias, with me. I rush over to the corpse to see if it's if we recognize this orc from one that we've seen before, and checking to see what blow killed the creature.
I just cautiously look around as he moves up, just to make sure we don't have any other company waiting amongst us.
Smart.
Now the scene is quite clear. Throughout this entire farm area, there are dozens of corpses similar to the orcs that you met, of dark green skin. And they are all hunchbacked. They are the same tribe of orcs. You even recognize the 3 orcs that you met. They are all dead. It is a scene of total carnage.
This is quite unfortunate. Not what I was expecting at all.
No, this is a major setback. Nico, check the bodies. I want to see what killed these orcs. Looking for evidence of human weapons.
Do you think it could possibly be their rivals, the Scorched Hand Orcs? Do you think they may
It could be the Scorched Hand Orcs. It could be an internecine war between these orc tribes. But I fear that the squire, I just don't trust that man, Nico. Killian. Squire Kent, it was the one that sent us here to investigate these dark creatures. He seemed quite intent on it. I wonder if he's responsible for this. I'd like to rule it out.
Agreed. And after his interference with everything in Compton, we need to pay him a visit anyway.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Espen cracks all of his knuckles.
These dead orcs seem to have died from crude access. Your henchmen are quite familiar with the work of orcs, and they identify this to be the work of perhaps a more savage tribe. And they encounter a corpse of a more normal-looking orc, perhaps from a different tribe.
Check that orc out to see. Perhaps this is one of that tribe that you mentioned, Killian. And Matthias, Nico, search the bodies. Look for a half-orc among them. If we can recover him, that would be important.
They find the half-orc, and when it comes to the findings in the normal-looking orc, it only has a certain mark on its body of it's as if a hand was burned into his body.
Well, so much for that. I had hoped that these orcs would be good allies for Compton. Strong workforce, willing to work. But alas, we have another problem.
He had more bloodshed. Perhaps
Terrible
we should
waste.
take a moment and see if we see any tracks leading off. Figure out
Agreed.
where they may have went.
See if they're close by.
Agreed.
We've already marched through the night. I don't know how much more we can take of this, but if we're camping in the middle of an ambush spot, that's probably foolhardy.
You find tracks, and they seem to be leading southwards towards Compton.
Oh, no. Look at this. This war party is heading south.
There might not be anything left by the time we get there.
Let's walk as much as we can before exhaustion takes us. We should try to find it. Pulling aside Nico and Matthias, let's take a look. This half-orc is indeed dead, the one who had spoken to us before. Let's check him just to make sure. If he survives, then perhaps there's something good can be salvaged of this tragedy.
He is dead. His throat has been slashed.
Sven, prayer maybe? I'm tired, exhausted.
I don't know that we can make it much further. Perhaps we should just go back to the pond. It is close by, and just go rest for the evening. I don't feel safe staying here.
Killian, I agree. It's foolhardy. Plus, we would just put ourselves in undue danger. There's only 6 of us, by the way.
Yeah, this is quite a slaughter.
I agree. Let's do that. Matthias, Nico, we're going to make camp at that pond. Yes, the same one. Yes, the water nymph. Yes, that one. Yeah. No, enough of those comments. Thank you. Let's go.
Once again, you spend a peaceful night there. You spend 1 ration. If there were any wounds, you heal 1 life point. You awaken the next morning, but you cannot see anything. You open your eyes, and you only see this white line in front of you.
What is this
Odin,
place?
have you taken my sight?
My hand immediately
What
drops
is
to my
this?
belt, looking for my sword.
Esben, are you there?
I'm here.
Ben, look up.
I'm here, wherever here
What is-
is. I don't understand this. What are your senses? You can see beyond what the eye can see. What is this?
Take a deep breath. Begin to focus.
Killian senses that you are still in the same place. And even the senses, everything seems to be normal, but you are effectively blind. You cannot see anything. And suddenly you hear this subtle laughter from afar. You will make great followers.
Who is that? Identify yourself.
Show yourself, coward.
I am just a pious man bringing the true faith back to this land. You have never heard this voice before.
True faith back to this land. We have no interest in your sophistries. Show yourself.
But I am standing close to you. Perhaps it is already taking effect.
What's taking effect? What have you done?
It's more like, what have you done? But don't be too hasty. We will meet again. Someday, perhaps. And you hear him walking away.
I'm looking forward to it. Espen calls out.
What is this madness?
It seems that some dark tidings, Killian. That speaker, whoever he was, seemed to indicate that some process is active within us. Something we've done.
Start rubbing my eyes fiercely.
Poison we've taken? I don't understand.
Suddenly you start to see a bit more clear, and this blindness goes away.
Thank the heavens. Everyone seems to be here.
Man, I'm not so sure this is a great campground. It seems like every time we stop here, we get something strange happening. I'm not giving this place a very good review. I think we should move on.
I'm definitely not a fan of Brickshire.
Brickshire's terrible. This place is awful. I'm of right mind to return to Jarlsberg and just tell them to write it off. If our enemies, if our rivals to the west really want this place, I think the best thing we could do is give it to them. Why fight over this? This is ridiculous.
We should make haste, though, as bad as I hate to do it. Sven, Luca, let's go, guys. Compton's waiting.
I think Canesmore would do well to take Brickshire and the pestilence that lies on this land. Man, I never thought I'd miss Jarlsberg as much as I do right now. Just
Agreed.
gather up our supplies and head south towards Compton.
You continue your way, and this concludes this part of the campaign. We are now out of character. I was a bit worried because for some reason, it seems that like StreamYard had some technical difficulties, and I was like kicked out of the session for a moment.
Yeah.
I think you did a great job in continuing the role play, because I was like, I need to, and StreamYard was like, sorry for the who knows what, and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we just tried to talk a little bit about what was happening.
Yeah, we did. Actually, Josh, you stayed in character, and it was like, oh, okay, we'll stay in character. That's good.
That was amazing. Great. Perfect. Yeah, I'm really worried. So what do you think about this part of the session?
Oh, it just keeps getting darker. You weren't telling us a story. It's continuing to go on that path.
It's very dark. And but I'm glad. Hey, we started off. We wanted to deliver the letter. We delivered the letter. I'm still kind of aching to know what was in it, but
it will haunt you forever.
Yeah, exactly. Should have read it. Dang it. Hey, we found Lothian too. We found him in the basement. I'm glad that we investigated that. I think that was good. We got a couple great leads for something with that key that we've got from him. It's a shame about the orcs. I kind of feel like, oh, dang it. Like if we had done something differently there, they could have been allies. But yeah, I'm glad that we killed that dark elf too. Man, that was satisfying. Very satisfying. That was
very interesting that he had that symbol on him as well, though.
Yeah,
there's
a
lot going on here.
There's a lot going on, and that symbol was the one that Lothian was obsessing about, doing his kind of mad, crazy wall thing, But he wasn't even trapped there. Like he was just there. He was just staying there.
It's a lot to think about.
Lots to think about. Yeah, many things happened. So can you tell us, Abraham, pacing wise, did we get a little further than you anticipated, or is this kind of we're still more or less on track?
No, I think, well, in order to avoid spoilers, compared to my other group, I think you have made faster progress. My other group wanted to explore more.
Right.
They took a very different route. They kind of like took their time, side quests. So they went to the side quest, but you like were on the mission, like
yeah.
and
That's right.
I think that's pretty cool. But the thing about this campaign is that this campaign doesn't hold hands. It could end into a disastrous cataclysm or something. So it's all up to you to see what happens. But yes, I think you have been doing fine so far. Yeah.
Good.
I was trying to get some spoilers from him, Josh, but he's too good for that.
He is. He's seasoned.
He could see through my ruse right away. I was trying to.
Smile didn't work that time.
You, Abraham. I was like, oh, I'm going to sneak this in now. Try to get some of the inside track, but nope, he saw through that.
It will be interesting in the future if we do make it through and proceed, but maybe us all have a conversation about that, kind of comparing, what your other group did and just kind of conversing it through. That'd be very fun just to find out kind of some.
I was actually talking with Josh in a comment about my group that they are about to finish the campaign. But yes, it all depends. In a couple of weeks, I will see. It could still turn into a bad ending.
Yeah,
according to what they are doing, and I'm all for that. I'm all for tragedies and
of course,
the heroes failed and all that. So we shall see.
I imagine that we are I'm sure there's a lot of detail and color that we're not getting, but it still feels. I don't know about you, Josh, but I certainly don't feel like we're missing in terms of we've got enough detail that it still feels like a coherent. I don't feel like we're lost or floundering, or we have too many choices to make and we have no idea which one we should make.
No. It definitely seems like everything's unfolding very naturally and organic, which I love. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I also think that you two are great when it comes to navigating, maybe because you are dungeon masters, game masters, or whatever. When it comes to the dungeons, it is very easy for you to reorient yourselves, even if my descriptions are not perfect, because these labyrinths, the maps, they are quite a bit gonzo in their architecture.
Right.
So I just kind of give you the general description, and if you need more details, well, you only have to I look at the doors, or I try to appraise.
Right.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was good. I also felt like the dialogue that we did today, I thought it went a little better than last time. Like some of the dialogue that we did in the taverns at points, I was like, oh man, this is getting a little dull. I hope that people aren't going to fall asleep watching this or listening to it. But I thought the dialogue here, it moved a little quicker, which was good. I thought so.
Yeah, I think you did very well.
So and I liked the combat. The combat was dynamic. That was a lot of fun. That was good. I still am not used to having hirelings. I'm still trying to get the hang of that, because I'd rather just be focused on Espen, but I have to keep reminding myself, no, there's also Nico and Matthias, and they're there, and then Sven and Luca, and it's a little bit of a challenge. But boy, oh boy, it's nice having hirelings, because then we go off and do the little adventure. We can say to the hirelings, say, watch the door, run some interference for us, go find this. It's certainly useful. It's very useful.
Using them to keep watch was perfect.
Yeah, that helped out a lot, just in case someone found us sneaking around in the basement.
I think things could have definitely went much different.
Yes. Yes. Very different.
I was super nervous when we were down there. Had me.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But I'm glad we went there. I mean, that opened up some options for next time that we can pursue those to see whatever else happens.
Well, absolutely. And that's something I had jotted down anyway with, that was a huge question mark, Lothian. And now, we know.
So. Now we know. Yeah. Yeah. Now we know. Well, we know something. It's
true.
Not even clear exactly still what's going on, but at least we've located him.
Every new answer seems to produce several more questions.
Yeah. So. And he does not seem to be the architect of this malaise. He seems to be a victim of it somehow. So that's an interesting angle. But yeah,
Look at
thanks,
Abraham.
Abraham.
He's just soaking it in. He's like, yeah, just keep talking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. He's the mad genius behind it all. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But, good. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was great. I appreciate it, Abraham. It was good.
Yes, thanks for playing, both of you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
And for those of you watching at home, we are going to be continuing this in a couple of weeks. So I hope you will watch us as well. And once again, thank you to Josh and to Crispy for playing. And thanks to everyone as well watching at home. Remember that it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. If you wish to support the channel, the information will be in the description. Once again, thank you to everyone and see you later.